What's going on, everybody? Ezra Rozier here. Man, I don't think you can play a much better game than we did last week against the New York Giants at MetLife Stadium. 48 to 22 win. Those 48 points, that's the most that we've ever scored against the Giants on the road, ever in franchise history, dating back to 1933. Like, it's crazy. And the 48 points, I also believe that's the most we've scored since 2017 when we dropped 51 on the Denver Broncos at the link. That game, it was such a complete game. First, the offense, Jalen Hurts going 21 for 31, I believe, 217 yards, had 70 something yards rushing on the ground, and all the touchdowns, all the different type of players who scored a touchdown. Jalen Hurts scored a touchdown. Miles Sanders, who set a career high 144 rushing yards, a new career day for him, he had a touchdown. You had AJ Brown had a touchdown. Devontae Smith had a touchdown on 4th and 7. 4th and 7. Jalen Hurts lobs a deep pass to Devontae Smith, and the Giants defender completely misreads the tackle, and then he just walks into the end zone for a touchdown. Do you know how much cojones it took to call that play on a 4th and 7? Do you know how much balls it took to run that play on a 4th and 7, ladies and gentlemen? You had Boston Scott scoring a touchdown against the New York Giants. The guy who just continues to harass the Giants game after game. Boston Scott, I said this in the other video, Boston Scott has scored 9 touchdowns against the New York Giants. 9 touchdowns. It's insane. It is just so poetic how the smallest eagle just totally dominates the team known as the Giants. It's just poetic justice. And really, and then the defense, right? So Hassan Reddick reaching his 10th sack of the year. Brandon Graham had, I believe, 3 sacks, 3.5 maybe, and he took home NFC Defensive Player of the Week honors. And it's interesting because this is the second time this season that Brandon Graham won NFC Defensive Player of the Week. If you remember, after the Week 3 game against Washington, where he also had 3 sacks on Carson Wentz, he won the honors that game as well. Brandon Graham, may I remind you, ladies and gentlemen, this man is 34 years old, coming off an Achilles injury. Coming off an Achilles injury, and he's playing at a high level. Brandon Graham is a very special type of player. He was drafted in 2010, and a lot of people weren't very happy with that pick because they wanted Earl Thomas. And in his first few seasons, Brandon Graham, he was coming on slowly. A lot of people labeled him a bust. A lot of people thought that he wasn't going to get any better. But as he got older, Brandon Graham got better. Now he's most famous for strip sacking Tom Brady in Super Bowl 52. And honestly, when he tore his Achilles in week 2 against the San Francisco 49ers, I wasn't I just didn't think that that would be the end of his career. First, I just believed that Brandon Graham was that different type of player. He was built different to come back from that torn Achilles, even at 34 years old. A lot of people wanted to move on from Brandon Graham. A lot of people wanted him gone after last year when he tore his Achilles. But I wanted to bring him back because I knew that he could be that type of player who could come back off of a horrendous injury like that. And I'm very proud to see him still playing at a high level. Now that brings me to this week's game against the Chicago Bears. So this is a team that ranks dead last in terms of passing, but I believe they're first in rushing yards. So the Bears, they're awful at passing the ball, but when it comes to running the ball, the Bears are one of the best teams in the league. And that's largely because of the legs of Justin Fields. Justin Fields, ever since that New England Patriots game on Monday Night Football, he's really come on strong. He's really been putting up some ridiculous performances, although they haven't translated to wins. I think he ran for like 170 something yards against the Miami Dolphins, a single game record for the regular season. And this is my concern about this game. So, similar to the Giants game and a bunch of other games this year, I'm not worried about the passing game of the Bears because I don't think they can pass the ball that well. Daryl Mooney is out, I believe, and they don't have that guy, Allen Robinson, anymore, who has been a very, very underwhelming acquisition for the Los Angeles Rams. But the thing about the Bears is Justin Fields. Can we contain Justin Fields? If Justin Fields breaks containment and he just totally obliterates us with his legs, this could get very uncomfortable. This could be a very uncomfortable game, ladies and gentlemen, because the Eagles, we struggle the most against the run. Although the run defense has been better over the past few weeks. I mean, shutting down Jonathan Taylor in the second half at Indianapolis, holding Derrick Henry to 30 yards rushing, and then Saquon Barkley, I think, only had 26 yards rushing. The run defense has gotten better, but personally, that's still what I see as our weak link on the defense. So whenever it comes to running games, I'm always more concerned about those than passing games. And you got this quarterback who is a scrambler who will run for long touchdowns. Just ask the Miami Dolphins, the Detroit Lions. He'll run on you. And it's just, can we contain him? Can we contain Justin Fields? If we contain Justin Fields on the pocket, if our defensive line has a big day, Brandon Graham, Fletcher Cox, Josh Sweat, Hassan Reddick, all those guys, if they have big days, then this game will be a blowout. This game won't be close. But if Justin Fields is allowed to run, if we let him run on us, this can become a very uncomfortable game. I mean, we saw a scrambling quarterback earlier this year. If you all remember the Week 5 game at Arizona, the Cardinals gave us fits because Kyler Murray, he kept running the ball. He kept scrambling away from the pressure, and that was a big problem in that game. That was our ugliest win of the season at that point. But then we later had a game against the Indianapolis Colts that was even uglier, although we still won. So I don't fear their passing attack. They do run the ball well, but David Montgomery, he might be injured. He might actually, let me look that up, see if he's injured or not. David Montgomery. Hmm. David Montgomery is actually a good running back. I like him. So let's see here. Mm. So he missed practice on Thursday because of an illness, it says. But if he does play, you got to shut down the run. That's what I'm worried about. Shut down the run. We've been doing a great job at it the last few times. So, I mean, I have faith that we'll win this game, but it's really Justin Fields. I will not be surprised if this game becomes very close because Justin Fields and his legs, they are a problem. They are a problem. And the Bears have lost like 6 straight games, I believe. 6 straight games. They're 3-9. Eventually, I don't think they're going to end the season on that losing streak. I don't think that they're going to end the season losing all these games. I think they're going to pick up a win somewhere. And any given Sunday, heck, any given Saturday, you saw the Indianapolis Colts blow a 33 to nothing lead against the Minnesota Vikings yesterday. Anything can happen, man. So it all depends on the defensive line. I have no fear about the offense in this game. The Bears are usually a team that's predicated on good defense, but that has not been the case this year. They're very low ranked against the pass. They're very low ranked against the run. Their defense can be had. So Jalen Hurts, I'm expecting him to have another masterful performance with AJ Brown, Devontae Smith, Quez Watkins, Miles Sanders. I think he's going to have a great day. Boston Scott, maybe throw him a little bit in there. Kenneth Gainwell. And by the way, so Dallas Goedert, who was injured in Week 10 against the Washington Commodes on Monday Night Football on that face mask play that never got called by the referees, he was activated off injured reserve this week. So, but interestingly, he will not play. Dallas Goedert will not play in this game. They are going to save him for next week. And we all know what comes next week, of course, our Christmas Eve game against the Dallas Cowboys at AT&T Stadium. Now, this is another danger of this game. I don't think this is likely to happen, but you never know. The danger this Chicago Bears game presents is looking ahead. The Eagles have a very highly anticipated game next week against the Dallas Cowboys on Christmas Eve at AT&T Stadium. There is the danger of looking past the Bears and looking ahead to the Dallas Cowboys. Now, Nick Sirianni has this team focused. I don't think that's likely to happen, but I just wanted to point that out. One of the big dangers about this game is looking ahead. I don't think that's going to happen, but next week. So Dallas Goedert not playing, I have no issue with that because they want to keep him healthy. They want to keep him healthy for next week because next week is the most important game of the season, the most important game of the season. So if you beat the Bears and then you beat the Dallas Cowboys, we clinch the number one seed. We clinched the number one seed in week 16 with wins over the Vikings. No, why did I say Vikings? Another NFC North team. With wins over the Bears and the Cowboys, we are the number one seed at 14-1. Now, it's interesting. So after the Cowboys, we play the Saints. And as we all know, we have the Saints draft pick. So even if we clinch the number one seed if we beat the Cowboys, I would still play the starters against the Saints because I want that pick to be a high pick. The Saints stink. What's their record? They're like 4-9, I believe. I would play the starters against the Saints only because of that draft pick. If it wasn't for the draft pick, then yeah, you could rest the starters, play the guys for maybe a half. Now, the Giants game, if we rest starters in that game, the final game of the season at the link, I have no issue with that. But I would play the starters against the Saints. I would play them. So I'm expecting a masterful performance by the Eagles today. But remember, you got to contain Justin Fields. Contain him. Contain Justin Fields because they can't do anything to us with the pass. It's the run. It's the run that we got to be worried about. So take care, everybody, and go Birds.